I've been making K'NEX roller coasters for over a year now, spanning from some of the largest coasters in the world to small, compact layouts. So I decided it was a good time to count down my top 5 best roller coasters I've made. If you didn't know already, my name is K'NEX Obsessed, and I build roller coasters at a small scale with K'NEX. Anyways, I'm judging my coasters based on theming, layout accuracy, and supports. And unfortunately, I'm not including custom coasters for this video, only recreations of real rides. So let's get right into it. At number 5, Ghost Rider from Knott's Berry Farm. You may notice that this coaster is the only one using the K'NEX Web Weaver car. That's because a couple people decided to get rid of that annoying sound themselves. I'm talking about Clover Coasters and NeoTrack. Both of these people use high-quality 3D printed parts and bearings to prevent speed loss from K'NEX stock cars. You can either order from clovercoasters.com or neotrackcoasters.etsy.com. Anyways, this coaster has absolutely no theming at all besides a small tunnel on the drop. There's also no station. Therefore, this coaster gets a 2 in theming. Moving on to the layout accuracy, it isn't accurate onto the real coaster. The shaping on the turns aren't very accurate, especially on the second and third turnarounds. Other than that, the layout is pretty accurate. This coaster gets an 8 in the layout accuracy. Finally, we have the supports. Now, you can't really go wrong with box supports on a wooden roller coaster, but some of them are too boxy for me. The turn over the helix has very real supports. This category gets an 8. The final score of this coaster is 6 out of 10. Number 4, Mystic Timbers from Kings Island. This was my best coaster at the time of its release. The theming was pretty good. There was a small station in a shed. I had not put a tunnel on the turnaround, and I could have made a shed better. For theming, it gets a 5. Now moving on to the layout accuracy. This is one of my most accurate coasters in terms of layout. Low to the ground airtime hills and turns were shaped pretty good. Although there were a few kinks here and there, like the airtime hill that's missing at the end, this category gets a 9. Now we have supports. Once again, you can't really go wrong with box supports, but they are very bulky, so I'm going to give them a 6 in supports. This coaster gets a 7 out of 10 overall. Moving into the top 3, we have Fury 325 at Carowinds. Now this coaster is a small station with gates. It's missing the hive dive, which is a key theming aspect of the real coaster. This category gets a 6. Moving on to the layout. This coaster is one of my best in layout. Perfect shaping and all elements are there except for the airtime hill over the valley of the drop. I couldn't do this element because it didn't have enough speed. Otherwise, this is a perfect layout. Therefore, it gets a 9.5. Finally, we have supports. Now, looking at this coaster, it is mostly box supports, which isn't very accurate to the real ride, but they are skinny box supports. I also didn't have enough pieces for tube supports, so this category gets a 7. The final score is 7.5 out of 10. My runner-up coaster I've ever built is El Toro from Six Flags Great Adventure. So this coaster is like no theming besides like a station, so I'll give it a 5, which isn't very good considering this is my number 2 coaster. Now, layout accuracy, this layout is absolutely fabulous in this category. One flaw is that the airtime hill right before going into the finale of turns could have been a little bit taller, but it didn't have enough speed, so I'll give this coaster a 9 in this category. Then we have supports. Once again, can't go wrong with box supports on a wooden roller coaster, and they are some of my best box supports, so I give it a 10. So El Toro gets an 8.5 overall. Alright. This is amazing music, so I'm going to keep it on in the background. Just take a listen. Alright, now that I got you vibing, it's time to talk about my number 1 coaster I've ever built, Millennium Force. Now this coaster is a hit in theming. Both tunnels are there, both loading and unloading stations are there, and most importantly, a patch of grass. Nah, I'm kidding. This category gets a 9. Moving on to the layout. This is one of my best in layouts I've ever built. Every element is there, not a single bad shaping. The only bad thing about this coaster is there's a booster chain on the first airtime hill. So it gets a solid 9.5. And finally, supports. These are my best supports I have ever done. They're accurate everywhere. The lift, done. The airtime hill's done. Every single turn, done. Every support is as accurate as I can get it. This category gets a 10 out of 10. So the final score of my number one coaster is, drum roll please, 9.5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, because if I get 200 by the end of the month of July, I will do a face reveal. Peace.